guys, it's Mo. So I have a video for you today all about concealers for oily skin. My previous video that was kind of like this was all about setting powders. So today I want to do a video about concealers. Like I said, my skin is oily, so sometimes concealers that are supposed to be thick and can cover anything are too thick and they start to break down on me in like a weird way. Also, I hope the lighting is better, but I see that it looks like my blush might be different. So we'll see what this looks like when I edit this. But anyway, so I want to talk about concealers today. Let's get back to the topic. So like I said, I have oily skin, and sometimes concealers that are supposed to be good for concealing sort of break down on me and separate in like a weird way, and it doesn't look good. So I wanted to just give some recommendations for concealers for concealing blemishes, for highlighting, and for correcting. I have a few palettes, you know what? I would say 99% of these are drugstore or drugstore prices. This is just what I have and what I've been using, so I just wanted to recommend them to you. So like I said, it's going to be for concealing blemishes, for highlighting, and correcting and concealing, if you will, I guess. So let's just get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is concealing blemishes. For me, I have acne-prone skin. It's very oily, and I tend to break out around a certain time of the month, and the only thing that I have found that conceals and really stays put for me and my skin is the what is this? is the concealer palette from Sonia Kashuk called Hidden Agenda. It has 3 concealer shades and 1 like setting powder shade, or setting powder section. I don't know what I'm trying to say, guys. I'm losing my mind. So this palette is really good because it conceals and corrects. For me, this shade right here is good for concealing my blemishes. These are a bit too thick for me, so I wouldn't put this under my eye, but it does have this salmony concealer or a salmony tone here to conceal maybe blue that's under your eye. And then this shade here is supposed to be like a green to cancel out redness. It's not a true green. It still sort of has a skin tone color to it. So I find it's really good to cancel out redness if I have a blemish that tends to be red. And then I really like this setting powder for setting my under eye concealer. So I could get away with using this. It's this salmon color here to correct under my under eyes. However, I do find it's a little bit too thick and it doesn't blend as easily as the thing that I'm going to recommend to you for concealing your under eyes. So this is more of a palette for concealing. This video is going to be all over the place because I kind of don't know what I'm trying to say here. So this palette for me is really good for concealing. I always go to this shade here whenever I need to whenever I need to conceal a blemish. It's full coverage, and I actually like to do it. I'll put on my foundation, I'll put on my setting powder, and then if I have blemishes still showing through, I can actually use this in a little bit, like a limited quantity, on top of the powder. And I think that makes it stay, because it is a little bit thicker, that makes it stay and blend out nicely. And then I just set it with my powder again. So I recommend this for all around concealing, and if you can deal with the correcting, I mean, you could do that. But for oily skin, I find this is the best to stay around. It's not going to break down funny and separate. If you have oily skin, you know what I'm talking about when a foundation just looks like it's sitting on top of your skin in like a pool of oil. It's so gross. So this is the first concealer recommendation I have. We can keep on with concealing. There are 2 other drugstore options I want to offer up to you, and this is the Wet n Wild Cover All Concealer Wand. I have the shade Beige and the shade Light. They're weird names and weird colors, but they just have a wand. It's kind of like a mousse consistency when it comes to being applied. When you pull it out, I don't know if my camera is gonna like zoom or anything, but when you pull it out, it's kind of thick and it has like a peak on the top of the wand, and so it just blends out nicely. It's still rather thick, so it has some coverage and doesn't blend away to nothing, but it's not thick where it will separate and be weird on oily skin. So I like this. Is a drugstore option. You get 24 fluid ounces. I believe this is under $3, and they don't have shades for darker skin tones. Really, it's really light skin tones that they have shades for, so just keep that in mind. But this is a really cheap and really great concealer. If you want to go into correcting, the concealer that I like to use to correct any blue or whatnot, or conceal my dark circles under my eyes, is of course Benefit's Erase Paste. Anywhere you go, you will always hear this recommended for under the eyes. I have the shade number 2 medium. It's a brightening camouflage for eyes and face. And it is just a salmon. It's like it's not so pink tone that it's too pink, if you know what I mean. Like it's still pretty much a skin tone color, but the deepness of it, the deepness of the color can actually camouflage and correct the blueness under your eyes. So anytime I need to look like I've slept a whole night, I use the Benefit Erase Paste, and I just either use my fingers or a small brush to put it in the darkest part, which is right here on me, and then I blend it out. And then when I want to go into highlighting, I have a few things that I use for highlighting. Under the eyes, the first thing I want to recommend is, and this is my old one, I actually just busted out a new one. This is the Maybelline Dream Lumi Touch Concealer Wand pen here, and I have the color Ivory. Now when you go, at least for me, when you go and you want to brighten, I tend to use a shade that is a shade or two. I tend to stay just at a shade lighter than my skin tone. I would not be able to use this to conceal because it's not the same color as my skin. Another thing I'm going to throw in the middle here, when you're concealing, you don't want to draw attention to what you're concealing. So don't ever try and conceal with something that's going to highlight. You might see, and that just makes sense. I mean, I'm not a pro. I'm not like, I have zero beauty training, but I remember reading a way long time ago in a magazine, like Girl's Life or something like that, about breakouts and concealing and things like that. You don't want to put a lighter color concealer onto a blemish. You want to use something that is your skin tone, or heck, if it's even darker and you can put foundation or powder over it to lighten it, that's fine too, at least in my opinion, because you want it to blend into your skin. You don't want to draw any attention to it. So when you're concealing, choose something that is your skin tone exactly, or maybe tiny bit darker, because you can always correct it with powder or put your foundation over it or whatever. You don't want to have something that's bringing attention to your blemishes. Same thing with under eye circles. You want to camouflage them. That's what the peachy tone sort of concealer is for. When you highlight, you want to highlight the bridge, not the bridge, they're your cheekbones through here. You can bring it up under the eye, but make sure you're concealing before you're highlighting. At least that's my opinion on this. You have to conceal before you highlight, otherwise you're just going to bring attention. You're just going to have really light, beautiful pale blue, you know, bags under your eyes instead of concealed and then highlighted. So anyway, getting into highlighting, I like to use this under my eyes and like the triangle thing that everybody does, because it's a really great color for highlighting. It's about a shade lighter than my skin tone. There are a few more that I love. Another one for highlighting is the shade Fair in the Wet n Wild Coverall foundation. It is just a beautiful, like pinky, just like a radiant color to me. Anything that has like radiant in the name, I know Maybelline has one, I know this comes in a color that's like radiant. It's going to be more of like a pinky tone that's going to give you a glow, if you will. Some other ones to highlight, I really like this Match Perfection. This is in the shade Fair. This says conceal and highlight. I would use this shade Fair to highlight, and then a shade that is closer to my skin tone to conceal. I would not use it for both, because like I said, you're going to draw attention to something that you want to conceal, so you don't want to highlight it as well. Another one for highlighting is this Rimmel Wake Me Up concealer. It has some like shimmeriness in it, I feel like, but it's also kind of yellow, so it gives a good brightening effect to under the eye. Another one for concealing, or I'm sorry, for highlighting, is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. It is also kind of yellow too. This could probably be someone's skin tone, but for me it gives a nice yellowy, not yellowy, but it gives a nice natural sort of highlight if I don't want to go like bang, cheekbones kind of thing. My final recommendation for highlighting, but it could offer some options to other people. This is the BH Cosmetics Correct and Conceal palette. I have the shade Light. There is a shade Medium and a shade Dark. Both the light and the medium shades come with 3 skin tone colors and then 3 corrector colors. These don't really conceal. They're mainly for highlighting, I would say, especially even the skin tone colors. They blend out to pretty much nothing. If you're going to use them to highlight, they do give a beautiful highlight to the center of the face. I especially love using this really light color here, but I mean, this green is really too bright for concealing and correcting red. You might be able to use the yellow for some highlighting. The pink might be able to do something for you. One of these might be your skin tone if you need just a little bit more coverage. However, I would not say that this has any coverage at all to hide blemishes. I would say this is more of a highlighting palette. And even then, you might not even use some of the colors in here, which kind of stinks. But this is, I'll link it down below. It was on the blog. It was a BH Cosmetics haul and review kind of thing. There were some things that I bought from BH that I just did not like. This is, if you could catch this on sale like I did, I would totally recommend this. If you don't, I'll leave the price here because I don't remember what it is, but if you don't mind dropping that, I really think that this is a great highlight. This yellow can be a great highlight too, so I totally recommend this. Maybe not full price, but if you can catch it on sale, or if you're looking for something to try from BH that you think you might get, you know, something out of, I don't know. I like this palette, but I'm sort of like lukewarm on it. It's not like amazing, but it's not bad. It's really something fun to play with in your makeup collection if you want to have it, you know. So there's that. Okay, so I also wanted to throw in some concealers that did not work for my oily skin, just to show you ones that if you want to steer clear of, because they probably will break down on you. This first one is the NYX concealer. It's the full coverage concealer. It comes in a little pot like this, and it's just like a creamy concealer. It's really, 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 really thick. So you might be able to get away with it for concealing, but definitely not for going under your eyes. It's so thick. And if I do remember, this one totally broke down on my skin and just separated. Is not a cute look. Another one that I love, I don't know, I don't love it, but I think it's a great concept if you can pull it off, but it's definitely not for oily skin. And this is the Hard Candy Glamouflage. It separates, it's got an oil in it, so right there I just know it's not going to mix with my skin. I just feel like if the oils come through, it's going to separate all the other oils in the product, and then I'm just going to be left with like separated gross on my face. That's not concealing anything anymore. So I wanted to say nay to this one. I also wanted to say that I don't particularly care or find that my oily skin takes to stick concealers very well. This is the Revlon Photo Ready Concealer in Light. If you can pull these off, that's wonderful, but if you have oily skin and you find that they don't work for you, it's probably because they don't work for you. I find they're too thick. Even though they're smooth and blendable and blah, blah, they're still too thick for me. I could use it maybe for contouring, but definitely not for concealing. Finally, one that I want to mention is just a complete dud all around, is this Almay Duo here. It just says it's in Light. I don't even remember what it was called, but it pretty much has 2 sides of like a creamy something. They blend to nothing. They're really hard, and I'm not sure what you're supposed to be able to do with it. One is a really pale pink and one is like an orangey color, like a creamsicle color. Literally, that's what it looks like. I have no idea what you're supposed to be able to do with this. Honestly, I don't. So don't even try. Don't even try. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, this short video on concealers for oily skin. I hope it might have helped you and pointed you into the right direction. I'm going to be doing more of these like all about a certain product kind of video, I guess. I just really wanted to talk about concealers, and I know that it's really hard for me to keep concealer on my face because my face just wants to break it down when the oils come through and it separates, and it's really, really gross. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you want to follow along, you can read more on my blog. It's 516thsblog.com. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Both are at 516ths. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.